5 canned foods are among the most dangerous choices for people over 60, while 5 others can actually strengthen your body if eaten daily. I'm a heart surgeon, and throughout my career, I've watched families lose their loved ones because of the very foods I'm about to warn you about. The heartbreaking truth is that many of these people had no idea what was happening. They believed they were eating safe, responsible meals. Many older adults believed they were making smart food choices, but the reality was devastating. The canned items they trusted, foods they thought were nourishing, were quietly poisoning them with every bite. I've had to sit across from families and explain that a father didn't pass away from old age, but because his arteries were clogged with layers of salt and chemicals that came from healthy canned soups and stews. Then I turn on the TV at home and see glossy commercials pushing seniors to buy the very same products that have buried my patients. That's what makes me sick. Corporations worth billions have approached me with offer sponsorship deals, paid promotions, asking me to endorse these foods as if they were senior friendly. They wanted me to stand there in my white coat, using my credentials as a surgeon to trick you into thinking canned meats and soups were good for your heart. But I couldn't do it. I've seen too much suffering. I've watched families break down in tears when they realized their loved one was gone and that it all could have been avoided. That's why I'm here, because in front of you lie 2 very different paths. One path leads to decline cans that drain your strength and shorten your life. The other path, if you choose carefully, can do the opposite, rebuild muscle, protect your memory, and help you maintain independence for years to come. Today, I'm going to uncover the 5 worst canned foods to avoid after 60, and just as importantly, the 5 best canned foods you should eat daily if you want to fight back. I'll count them down from number 5 to number 1, and each step will surprise you more than the last. When we reach the 3rd worst canned food, the one that sits in millions of pantries, you may never look at your own shelves the same way again. But don't just rely on my words. Don't accept any claim without seeing the evidence yourself. Every statistic, every piece of data, every research study I cite is available in the description below. Go read them, because the companies pushing these cans are counting on you to stay uninformed. They profit from your silence. Before we start, let me ask, where are you watching from today? Drop it in the comments. We reply to each one because your experience matters. Now let's begin with number 5 on the worst list. It may appear to be fruit, but it's really just sugar disguised as health. Number 5. Canned fruit in syrup. At first glance, it looks wholesome, bright labels with smiling peaches, pears, and pineapples. The marketing tells you it's an easy way to get your daily fruit. For seniors, though, it's one of the most misleading products in the store. That fruit is drowning in syrup, and that syrup can spike blood sugar and quietly drain your energy. Just a single cup of canned peaches in heavy syrup holds more than 30 grams of sugar. That's the equivalent of nearly 8 teaspoons of table sugar poured into what looks like a light snack, and the science is chilling. A major study in JAMA Internal Medicine showed that people who consumed more than 25% of their daily calories from added sugar faced double the risk of dying from heart disease compared to those who kept sugar lower. Canned fruit in syrup is nothing more than added sugar in disguise. For seniors who are already more prone to insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, every spoonful pushes them closer to disease. Take Gloria, age 72. She thought she was doing the right thing by replacing cookies with canned peaches and syrup each evening. But within a year, her waist grew, her energy plummeted after meals, and her doctor diagnosed her with pre-diabetes. Gloria was devastated. She had believed fruit would protect her health. Only after switching to fresh berries and canned fruit labeled packed in water did her blood sugar stabilize and her energy return. The fix is straightforward. If you buy canned fruit, choose only those packed in water or 100% fruit juice, never syrup. Better still, reach for fresh fruit whenever possible. A bowl of blueberries or some apple slices gives natural sweetness, fiber, and antioxidants without delivering a sugar bomb. And while syrup-soaked fruit wrecks your blood sugar, the next item is even worse. It's salty, greasy, addictive, and directly tied to higher rates of heart disease and stroke. Number 4. Canned soups. They're one of the biggest traps in the grocery aisle. Marketed as warm, comforting, even heart-healthy, they seem like a safe option. But for adults, over 60 canned soups are among the worst choices you can make. The reason? They're loaded with sodium preservatives and flavor enhancers like MSG. A single can of chicken noodle soup can contain over 900 milligrams of sodium, nearly half of the daily recommended limit, in just one meal. That isn't food, it's a salt bomb. Clinical research published in Hypertension revealed that reducing sodium intake lowered systolic blood pressure by an average of 7 points in older adults, enough to cut stroke risk by nearly 25%. But instead of lowering your sodium, canned soups push it dangerously high. The results are predictable: higher blood pressure, stiffer arteries, strain on the kidneys, and swelling in the legs and ankles. Meet John, age 68. He thought his daily lunch of canned chicken noodle soup was harmless, even smart. It was cheap, quick, and tasted fine. But over time, he started feeling dizzy when standing up. His shoes felt tighter because of swelling. At his next checkup, the doctor found his blood pressure had climbed into the danger zone. John had no idea his light soup was saturating him with salt. Once he switched to homemade soups with fresh vegetables, lean chicken, and herbs instead of salt, his blood pressure came down, the swelling faded, and his dizziness disappeared. The solution is straightforward: walk away from canned soups completely, or if you absolutely must buy them, only pick brands labeled low sodium with less than 140 milligrams per serving. Even better, prepare your own soup in big batches, freeze portions, and heat them when needed. A simple pot of chicken, carrots, celery, and garlic offers the same warmth and comfort without wrecking your heart or kidneys. Think canned soup is bad. The next one is even more dangerous. It's sold everywhere as an inexpensive, tasty protein, but in reality, it's stuffed with fat, sodium, and additives that can cut years from your life. Number 3. Canned pasta, ravioli, and spaghetti. At first glance, these meals look harmless, cheap, quick, and advertised as family favorites. Spaghetti in tomato sauce ravioli, stuffed with meat or macaroni and cheese that only need reheating, seem convenient. But for anyone over 60, canned pasta is one of the most deceptive traps in the grocery aisle. It combines everything your body does not need: refined carbohydrates, excessive sodium, added sugar, and poor quality oils. One can of ravioli delivers more than 1,200 milligrams of sodium, over half your daily allowance, plus over 20 grams of added sugar, all disguised in a tomato sauce that appears wholesome. Research is clear. A study published in Circulation showed that diets high in ultra-processed foods like canned pasta increased the risk of cardiovascular disease by 29%. Meet Harold, age 70. Living alone, he often turned to canned spaghetti for dinner a few times a week. It was cheap, fast, and reminded him of earlier days. But within a year, his blood pressure spiraled out of control, his waistline expanded, and he felt drained after meals. His doctor warned that his blood sugar was moving dangerously close to diabetes. Stunned, Harold cut canned pasta from his diet and replaced it with whole grain pasta and homemade tomato sauce. Within months, his health numbers improved, his energy returned, and he regained control of his well-being. Inside the body, refined pasta sends blood sugar soaring, giving a short burst of energy, followed by a crash. The extra sugars and oils in the canned sauce fuel inflammation that damages both heart and brain, while the sodium overload forces the heart and kidneys to work overtime, silently wearing them down day after day. Seniors often assume post-meal fatigue is just aging, but in reality, their bodies are battling sugar crashes and salt excess. As bad as canned pasta is, the next category is even more shocking. It's marketed as high protein and long-lasting, but it's so overprocessed and chemical-laden that eating it regularly leaves you weaker, inflamed, and more vulnerable to disease. Number 2. Canned meats, such as Spam, Vienna sausages, and corned beef. These products have been on store shelves for decades, promoted as quick family meals, and even shipped abroad as safe food supplies. The names are familiar and nostalgic, but the harsh truth is that for adults over 60, canned meats are among the most dangerous foods you can consume. They're crammed with sodium nitrates and unhealthy fats that slowly attack the heart, kidneys, and brain. The statistics are staggering. A single serving of Spam has more than 790 milligrams of sodium and nearly 17 grams of fat, much of it saturated. A tiny can of Vienna sausages holds over 800 milligrams of sodium. Corned beef often tops 1,000 milligrams per serving. Robert, age 66, loved Vienna sausages. He kept stacks of cans in his pantry for easy snacking. They reminded him of his childhood and seemed like a quick way to get protein. But gradually his blood pressure climbed, his body stayed bloated, and eventually he landed in the hospital after a mild heart attack. His doctor traced it back to the canned meats he thought were harmless. When Robert gave them up and switched to fresh, lean proteins, his swelling subsided, his blood pressure improved, and his energy slowly returned. Here's what happens inside your body. Sodium overload forces the heart to pump harder, raising blood pressure and damaging arteries. Nitrates used to preserve canned meats turn into nitrosamines, compounds directly linked to cancer. Meanwhile, the saturated fat fuels plaque buildup, narrowing arteries and cutting off oxygen to the brain and muscles. Many seniors dismiss early warning signs, swollen ankles, frequent headaches, chest tightness, as just part of aging. In reality, these are red flags that canned meats are steadily poisoning the body. As harmful as canned meats are, the next group is even worse. Marketed as hearty and nourishing, these products appear comforting, but actually overload your system with dangerous compounds. Number 1 on the worst list, canned chili and canned stews made with processed meat mixes. These canned meals look hearty: beans, vegetables, chunks of meat, everything you would expect from a wholesome dish. But inside the can is a toxic combination: ultra-processed meats, excessive sodium, hidden sugars, unhealthy oils, and a cocktail of preservatives. Just one can of chili can carry more than 1,200 milligrams of sodium, around 20 grams of fat, and over 10 grams of added sugar. That isn't real nutrition, it's a chemical cocktail masquerading as food. The science is conclusive. Research published in The Lancet Public Health linked high consumption of ultra-processed foods to a 62% higher risk of early death. Another study in Circulation found that meals based on processed meats raised the risk of heart disease by 32%. Meet Margaret, age 74. She loved heating up canned beef stew whenever she didn't feel like cooking. It seemed filling and homey. But within 2 years, she developed high blood pressure, constant joint pain, and chronic fatigue. Her doctor warned that the salt, fat, and preservatives were damaging her heart and kidneys. After she stopped eating them and switched to fresh stews made with lean beef, beans, and vegetables, her blood pressure improved, her energy came back, and she even lost weight. The solution is clear: avoid canned chili and stews entirely. If you crave chili, prepare it fresh with beans, tomatoes, spices, and lean meats like chicken or turkey. For stew, use fresh vegetables, herbs, and slow-cooked lean beef. You'll get the comfort and flavor without the hidden toxins. That's why these products take the number 1 spot on the danger list. They're not just unhealthy, they are a perfect storm of ingredients that speed up aging and disease after 60. But here's the encouraging part: not every can is harmful. Some canned foods are nutrient-rich and can strengthen your body instead of weakening it. That's what we'll turn to now: the 5 best canned foods to eat daily. Number 5 on the best list, canned chickpeas, also called garbanzo beans. They may look plain, but for seniors, they're a nutritional powerhouse. Chickpeas provide plant protein, fiber, magnesium, and folate nutrients that guard the heart, regulate blood sugar, and keep digestion running smoothly. Unlike canned meats or pastas, chickpeas offer clean energy without sodium overload, sugar spikes, or unhealthy fats. Science backs this up. A study in Nutrients reported that older adults who ate legumes like chickpeas at least 4 times per week had a 22% lower risk of heart disease. Take Thomas, 69. He used to rely on white bread and canned ravioli for quick meals, and his weight crept up while his blood sugar edged toward prediabetes. A friend suggested adding chickpeas to his diet. He started tossing them into salads and soups. Within months, his hunger between meals decreased, his digestion improved, and at his next checkup, his blood sugar was back in the healthy range. Here's why. The protein and fiber in chickpeas slow digestion, preventing blood sugar spikes and giving steady energy. Magnesium relaxes blood vessels to lower blood pressure, while folate supports brain health and helps reduce the risk of dementia. The key is choosing wisely. Always rinse canned chickpeas to wash away excess sodium from the liquid. Pair them with vegetables, olive oil, or lean proteins for balanced meals. Mash them into hummus, roast them for a crunchy snack, or stir them into soups for extra heart protection. That's why canned chickpeas earn their place in the top 5. They're inexpensive, convenient, and surprisingly powerful in rebuilding health after 60. Number 4 on the best canned foods list is canned salmon with bones. Unlike heavily processed meats, this choice doesn't come drowning in preservatives or excess sodium. Instead, it's loaded with high-quality protein, omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D, and the soft edible bones supply a rich source of calcium. These nutrients are exactly what the aging body is missing. They strengthen muscles, improve joint health, sharpen memory, and fortify bones against fractures. For seniors, canned salmon delivers more than just a meal, it acts like a natural therapy for long-term independence. Research confirms its benefits. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that seniors who ate fatty fish, such as salmon, at least twice per week, lowered their risk of heart disease by 30%. Carol, age 73, experienced this firsthand. After suffering a minor wrist fracture, her doctor told her that her bone density was alarmingly low. She couldn't afford expensive supplements, so she turned to canned salmon, with bones, eating it twice a week in patties or mixed into salads. After a year, her bone scans showed measurable improvement, and she felt stronger and steadier. For her, salmon wasn't just food, it was protection against losing independence. The practical tip is to buy salmon packed in water, not oil, and always include the soft bones, because that's where much of the calcium hides. Mash it into salmon cakes, toss it into salads, or add it to soups. It's affordable, convenient, and one of the most effective ways to rebuild your body from the inside out. That's why canned salmon with bones earns its place as number 4. It's not just filling, it strengthens the heart, protects the brain, and literally rebuilds your skeletal system, one bite at a time. But the next item on the list may surprise you even more. Number 3, canned sardines in water or olive oil. These little fish are often overlooked, but ounce for ounce, they carry more nutrition than almost any other canned food. They're rich in omega-3 seconds, vitamin D, calcium, and protein, and because sardines sit low on the food chain, they contain far less mercury, making them one of the safest seafoods for seniors. The evidence is compelling. A study in Nutrients showed that seniors who regularly consumed omega-3 rich fish, such as sardines, had a 35% lower risk of cognitive decline. That means sharper thinking, better memory, and stronger protection against dementia. Daniel, age 71, had dismissed sardines for years, calling them poor man's food. But after struggling with stiff joints and constant fatigue, he gave them a try. Twice a week, he added sardines to toast or salads. Within months, his knee pain eased, his energy improved, and even his concentration sharpened. The fix is simple. If you're watching calories, choose sardines packed in water. If you want extra healthy fats, go for those in olive oil. Rinse them lightly to reduce sodium, then add to salads, sandwiches, or pasta. Sardines are portable, affordable, and deliver nutrients most supplements can't. That's why sardines rank number 3. They prove that sometimes the smallest foods provide the greatest benefits. From heart protection to brain support, sardines are a budget-friendly powerhouse. Number 2, canned tomatoes with no added salt. They may look ordinary, but for seniors, they are one of the most valuable staples you can keep in your pantry. Tomatoes are packed with lycopene, vitamin C, potassium, and antioxidants that protect the heart, strengthen the immune system, and even lower cancer risk. Canning actually boosts the bioavailability of lycopene. The heating process makes this antioxidant easier for the body to absorb than from raw tomatoes. Studies prove the payoff. One published in the Journal of Nutrition found that people with higher lycopene levels had a 55% lower risk of stroke compared to those with the lowest levels. Another study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that diets rich in tomato-based products reduced LDL cholesterol by 10% and improved artery flexibility. For seniors, that means lower blood pressure, smoother circulation, and stronger defense against heart attacks. For seniors, canned tomatoes mean more than flavor. They lower blood pressure, improve circulation, and offer stronger protection against heart attacks. Take Helen, age 70. She loved pasta, but usually relied on jarred sauces packed with sugar and salt. Her doctor advised her to switch to no salt-added canned tomatoes and prepare her own sauce instead. Within a few months of making that swap, Helen's blood pressure leveled out, her energy increased, and even her skin took on a healthier glow thanks to the antioxidants. What seemed like a minor change became a major upgrade to her overall health. The The secret is choosing wisely. Always buy canned tomatoes labeled no salt added. That way you control the seasoning and keep your meals heart-friendly. Use these tomatoes in soups, stews, sauces, or as the base for chili with lean beans and vegetables. They're inexpensive, versatile, and powerful for guarding your health after 60. That's why canned tomatoes rank number 2. They prove that everyday pantry staples can work like medicine when you pick the right version. But as beneficial as tomatoes are, the number 1 canned food stands apart. It's rich in protein, calcium, and omega-3 seconds, and research shows it can literally add years of strength and independence to your life. Number 1. Canned black beans, no salt added. They may look humble, but they're among the best foods a senior can eat daily. Black beans pack plant-based protein, fiber, potassium, magnesium, and antioxidants. Together, these nutrients protect the heart, regulate blood sugar support, digestion, and even lower the risk of premature death. For older adults battling muscle loss, hypertension, or diabetes, black beans can be a real game changer. Meet Arthur, 75. Arthur struggled with high blood pressure and constipation, which left him drained and irritable most days. His daughter encouraged him to start eating canned black beans, rinsed and added to salads, soups, and rice bowls. Within weeks, Arthur felt lighter, his digestion smoothed out, and his next checkup showed lower blood pressure. That simple pantry substitution transformed his quality of life. Here's why: the fiber in black beans slows digestion, preventing blood sugar spikes and keeping levels stable. Potassium relaxes blood vessels, lowering blood pressure. Magnesium fuels muscle and nerve function, while antioxidants shield the heart and brain from inflammation. For seniors, this translates into less fatigue, better circulation, sharper memory, and stronger muscles. These benefits extend far beyond the dining table. They safeguard independence. The rule is simple: always buy no salt added canned black beans and rinse them before eating to cut residual sodium. Pair them with whole grains, vegetables, or lean proteins for balanced, energizing meals. Black beans are cheap, adaptable, and among the most nutrient-dense foods you can stock. That's why they hold the number 1 spot. They're not flashy, but they deliver exactly what seniors need: strength, stability, and protection against disease. With that, you now know the truth about the cans filling millions of pantries. The items sold as comforting, convenient, even healthy are often the very ones wrecking senior health. Canned fruit drowning in syrup, sodium-heavy soups, sugar-laden pasta, processed meats, and chemical-filled chili. Don't just taste bad for your body. They raise blood pressure, fuel diabetes, weaken bones, and shorten lives. The food industry won't warn you. It's a trillion-dollar machine built on exports and profit, not your longevity or independence. But the good news is not every can is the enemy. Some are powerful allies: chickpeas to steady blood sugar, salmon with bones to rebuild strength, sardines to sharpen memory, tomatoes to guard arteries, and black beans to protect heart muscles and digestion. These aren't fancy superfoods. They're everyday staples that fight weakness, frailty, and decline. The choice is yours. Every shopping trip and every can you open is either building you up or tearing you down. You don't need pricey supplements or complicated diets. Sometimes it's as simple as knowing which cans to reject and which ones to embrace. Now, I'd love to know, where are you watching from today? Share in the comments. We respond to everyone because your story matters. If this video gave you clarity, hit the like button before you leave. Share this with a friend who needs the warning, and subscribe so you never miss the truths the food industry doesn't want you to know. After 60, every choice matters, and the right choices mean not just living longer, but living stronger. If you have questions or personal experiences, drop them in the comments. We're always listening. Thank you for watching.